Hello, welcome. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the stream. My name is Ace. I like to draw. I am learning how to do 3D sculpts of characters in Blender to use as reference to use for a webcomic that I'm developing. I've already written it. I'm just designing the characters now. That's really all that needs to be done. And of course, panels and whatnot, but we'll just say characters. That's all that needs to be done. All right. We're doing the retopology and we left off at the hand, so we're just gonna go right back into it. I hope everyone's having a great morning. That's if you're watching this, I appreciate you watching it. I am doing pretty good. We're going to continue. This has been quite the experience learning this, and I'm pretty satisfied with progress that we've made since starting this new medium, I would say. So yeah, now I'm just looking at the hand, and I am looking to see how I'm gonna do the area in between the fingers. I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna work on the middle finger for a little bit, or hang on, what we got here? All right, so could I do this? You think that'll work? I don't know. Uh-oh. Let's see. Let's see if this will work. Maybe. I think that could work. It's a little wonky, but I think we can manage that for now. All right, so we're going to switch to vertex, and we're just going to continue from here. Looking around, I don't want to do this area yet. Actually, on second thought, we're going to go and extrude some edges around the middle finger. I don't really have anything to go off of. We're just kind of just we're just starting a new area at this point. I think what I'm going to try to do is to mimic this finger on this finger as far as the spacing is concerned. That's like the only reference that we have right now. And I think, you know what? I think that'll just have to do. And then we'll try to match the width of this on this side of the finger. I'm not really sure if that's the same width. We're just going by perspective here. You can see it's not exactly in the same position. Let's try moving, and it's moving with us, so it's kind of hard to see if that's correct. But we're just gonna go with it. Let's see, one, two, three, and then it will be four, like so, right? And then we have the side of the finger. Actually, you know what? We can probably just close it off right there. I think that'll do. Now we have something to go off of for this. It's kind of like a it's kind of like a fake edge loop. This is our technically our edge loop right here. One, two, three, one, two, three. So we're not quite there, but this is like an edge loop for this part of the finger. So we're going to, I think what we can do is just going ahead and attach this area. Now it's coming over a little bit too far, I think. It ain't gonna be like this finger. And I'm trying to solve that problem now that we have created for ourselves. That's what I'm trying to do. Now I have a problem to solve. What do? What do indeed? I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to go back and I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of that face. And we're just, since we have this, we could just go off of this for now. And then whatever space is left, we can close that gap. I think that would be best. I just need a clear view of what I'm doing, because if I try to extrude from the vertex from this angle, it's going to snap to this finger. And just so we avoid that problem, we're going to turn it a little bit and just do that. Okay. Now we have a little smaller area that we can cover. And I think wait, you know what? We remove this too. Let's just back all the way up, okay? Now I'm trying to determine how we're going to do this properly. I think we can, since we have this vertex here and here, I think we can just connect these together. That might work. Now we have a little, it's kind of a semi-square. I think we have a little easier time here. Let me see if we can just put that together. I mean, it's not pretty, but it's probably better than what it looked like before. So I think we'll go with that. Let's go back to vertex. I'm just gonna go down and finger a little bit since we have that side pretty much established. I'm gonna move these vertexes back some. Move this one forward. I'm trying to even out these lines here. I'm just gonna look around the finger a bit, just kind of check things out, see if there's anything that we need to fix immediately, anything that we need to look out for. I'm looking at this area right here. We may have to do something about that. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we can just do this. Connect all these together. Hit F. Now it's just this side, which I do believe we can just... No, we can't do that because it's going through the finger if we do it that way. Let's go backwards. Let's delete that face. I'm going to go back to edges, and we're going to just cover this area right here. I'm going to look around. It could be possible that we need more uh, edges on the palm, but we're going to leave it like this because we can always just adjust these. And we have a really big edge, really big face there. if we do it that way. I don't know if we should. I'm just going to Control Z that. We could do this. And then do another triangle on the other side when we complete this finger, and then have that space. Another triangle will bridge those two triangles together. That could work. It's just not the way we did this finger. I think maybe we can do that for this finger. Let's see. Let's delete the face, right? And then let's test it. Because it is done the same way. Wait, let's try this. And we have an extra edge here for this specific area, so it's not quite the same until we do that. And then we can take, maybe we can leave this here. I kind of want to just dissolve it. Let's see what it looks like when it's dissolved. Okay, so we have the triangle. We have the two triangles on the side. Well, it's not really a triangle, but it's a similar to what I was talking about. It's not the same. It's not the same exact thing, but that's basically, triangle on this side, triangle on this side, triangle in the middle, and just leaving it like that. That's what I want to do for this area. But I'm going to need to do this finger first in order to do exactly what we just did there. So I'm going to continue with the middle finger. See, F. I'm just going to go down a little bit. We already have things up for the most part aligned, so I think we can just keep going. We can go on all the way down to the fingernail. The only thing is, we're going to need to do the fingernail, and I think we need an extra edge loop for that. Or not edge loop, but just an edge. But if I do it on the middle finger, it's gonna go all the way up his arm. I don't really want to do that. Maybe we can add some extras, horizontal ones. I don't want to add more lines, although I probably should. I want to try to keep this as simple as possible. Besides the little minute details like the fingernails. Okay, we're gonna go around. Let's complete the finger. Start closing it off here. Let's go back to edges. And we're going to do that. This looks really like closed off. It's like pulled over. We don't want to, I don't want that look of it being stretched over the finger. So we're going to take a couple of these vertices and bring them back a little bit. Oh, okay, up, yeah, all right, close that. Let's do this. I'm gonna adjust the finger a little bit. It kind of widens a little bit. I make the knuckles too wide or like protrude out too much. I don't know. It's not a big deal. It won't look like this when we're done. Once we get the details baked onto it, it'll look just like the high poly model. I've already seen that process in action. So we're making some progress on the other mesh so far. Just a little quick update. I am redefining the boots, but when I get to doing the boots here, I'm gonna bring those boots back over to this mesh, and then kind of like retopology the boots on this model, and then do them right because I didn't do them right. I kind of just I kind of like washed out the details a little bit when I retopologized them the first time, but I'm going to do it again for this model and then do them right on this model and then bring them back to that model. That's what I'm going to do. And we'll have a pair of boots that we can do for like what the next 3 characters or so because they're all wearing similar uniforms. So that'll make it a little bit easier for the next couple of meshes. Then we'll just have to focus on likeness and anatomy and all that stuff. And of course, the rest of their clothing, which is also going to be similar, but we can't import that because it's not going to, like, we can't import this guy's clothing because it's going to be around his body. There's going to be, if we do it that way, we could morph it to fit their body, but the wrinkles will still be there because we're using actual cloth uh simulation add-on, and the wrinkles are going to form around that specific body. If we take that same uniform and use it for other people, well, maybe we could. I don't know. I don't know if I should even try it. I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I don't really see the issue. We could probably copy and paste the clothing, and then we could just add more wrinkles. That would actually really help. They'll already be textured. I'll think about it. I'm gonna try it. Because if we can copy and paste the clothing, that would make this go a lot quicker. I think we should definitely try it. And if there's any differences, because we're going to be drawing this stuff, we can easily just correct any discrepancy. It's not going to be we're not using these specific meshes for anything but drawing. So we might be able to get away with taking just a few shortcuts and only really designing brand new clothing. There's some characters that have there's a character specific clothing. I think we can probably do the uniforms. We could probably copy the uniforms or any uniform really that's shared from person to person and just kind of just tailor it to their body. It's going to take just a little bit of effort to make it fit, but it'll be all right. Not even really effort, really just making sure that it looks right and not just something that's just folded. Oops, we don't want to go all the way down in there, do we? But I think it could work. As soon as I complete the clothing, I'm going to try that because we're coming up on that pretty soon here. I think we can, when I move on to the next step on my first mesh, which I believe is just textures, I'm going to take the boots and put them over here and just fit them to this guy. Probably shouldn't have to mold them unless their feet size is different. I don't think it is. If it is, we'll fix it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we're gonna try it. I definitely want to retopologize them better because if we're going to share them, I want the boots to look right. Right now, they're still kind of rough. They were fine, but I kind of messed it up, so now they're rough again. I kind of messed it up. I didn't do them right, but now I have a pretty good idea of how I should do them. And it's basically just for the finer details, we just do smaller edges and faces and vertices for the smaller details and simpler ones for the big ones. And basically just have all the seams have their own little uh faces on them, so that way we can keep those details. And then we won't ever have to do the clothing again for at least, let's see, I have two more people who share the same uniform, maybe even three actually, because when I did some editing, I took a character that appears later in the story and I placed him earlier. He appears earlier now, so it might be three characters with the same uniform, and then four characters total that share the boots. I'm gonna use the same boots for like four characters, maybe even five. But the two on the back end are gonna have completely different clothing, so we'll have to design all brand new clothing for those characters. But I think we can definitely get the boots and get some good use out of them for a long time, and that'll speed up our process here. We need to get to 7 characters, and then I can start doing some uh, character turnarounds, test pages. I really want to see how it all fits together. I'm very excited because I know how it's gonna look. Like when I was writing it, I kind of planned out the panels already, so that won't take much to get going. Uh, the look of the character, everything is all set. I just have to design them and then put them on the page with my art style and refine that. And of course, over time, it should get better. Even though we want to keep the art as consistent as possible, but I mean, your art style is naturally going to change over time if you really try, you know, to change it. Not try, but if you at least if you're not if you want to improve, I mean, you're going to naturally improve. The reason why I started doing this is because I was designing my characters without reference, and I kept trying to make the character concepts better as I drew some characters again and again, and it was like I like the changes were different enough to warrant me wanting to try to lock down solid references. So it began as an experiment, and then it became like a general, like a genuine interest in the medium. We're not just This is not just a means to an end. I actually really enjoy doing this and learning how to do these sculpts here, and we can use these for other future projects. This skill. So very excited to see what I can do with this. I want to try to do some animation, maybe a game of my own. Like I said, I've mentioned this quite a few times, but I follow a lot of game dev streams, and I kind of want to try it. I made a game before, but this is when I was a kid, and it didn't work out too well. I made the game, but the final boss kept killing you. As soon as you start the game, the final boss would just come and kill you. I didn't know how to stop that from happening. That's my one game. Well, but I always had the kind of the desire and the curiosity to try it again one day. There was the concept of making a video game I had some interest in since Sony released the Net Yaruzi PlayStation. It's a all black PlayStation that you can create your own PS1 games. And I read about this console. It was only in Japan. You could have it imported, but it was like I think it came with a net price of $700 and something dollars. Okay, and that probably was not with the import costs included. But ever since then, ever since reading about that, I wanted to make my own video game. now, as time goes on, it becomes easier and easier to actually do that. So I think the possibility of me doing that is pretty good. But we're going to try to focus on one project at a time. Right now, we are working on a webcomic, so we're going to stick to that for the time being. That was also something that I was already making comics at that time too. As a kid, I would just fold some paper together and just make something up. But now we're giving it a 100% honest try at making something that um, I'm gonna try to make it professional quality, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not a professional. Now let's see. Oh no, I was trying to figure out like how I could add some. Well, you know what? Maybe I can. Maybe this will let me do this. What if I did this? Oops. If I did this right, and then well, I can add one, but it's gonna go all the way up, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna go all the way up. Is there something that we can do about that? No. It's gonna go all the way up. Well, it might. Whoa, whoa. We don't want that. Please. We can always just delete that. Delete the access loops there. I just don't want this to deform. Let's see. Okay. Now we grab that. And then we can dissolve this. Grab this. And about right here. That's all. We could have went further. We're gonna just go all the way down to the hand or to the knuckle here. We don't need that many edges. We're gonna do the same thing for this too. There's a lot of unnecessary. Matter of fact, why don't we just do it right now while we're on the subject? Oops. Okay, dissolve that. How about here? Dissolve that. I'm gonna leave all this alone. Like we want smaller faces and vertexes here for the hand because that's something that's gonna move a lot. That's gonna be fully posable. So I don't mind this being super, complicated. As long as it's not too sloppy. I'm looking at this part though. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm gonna leave it for now. I might be able to adjust it some. I think if I just take this line, dissolve it, take this line, dissolve it. It looks a little better, I think. I kind of want to remove this line, but I also want to leave it. We'll see. If there's a problem, we'll fix it later. I don't think it will be though. Looking at the bow here. The bow, you can do that. I did not know that was a possible thing that you can do there. That's cool. Just using the right mouse wheel, you just add more loops. See, you can add as many as you want. That'll come in useful later, don't you think? Or at least at some point, maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking that this horseshoe shape should be circular. That's what I'm thinking. But I might just leave this. If it causes a problem later down the line, we'll fix it. Now we need to work on the fingertips. Now we're back. We're still back to the problem that we're trying to solve here. We have everything but the fingertip. We want to get the fingernail. And you know what? It's not even a problem, to be honest. I already know how to. I can fix this. All we really have to do. Let me back this off the fingernail because I don't know why I covered it. Couldn't tell you why I did that. We can't cover that yet. Okay, we have the line right where we want it, right? But all we really have to do is take one of these fascias, shift D it, and then just bring it over here to this fingernail. And then we can just shape this fingernail like that, like this fingernail, easily. Like why would you need to think any more than that, right? Why in the world? It's a simple solution. And then we can just attach the smaller ones to the big ones. So let's see. Only thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that this is right up on the cuticle here. We're going to need to move the entire face. So right here. That way we can cover the side of the fingernail and the cuticle at the same time. Now we can just extrude from there. I should have done this fingernail like that, but I'm going to leave this one alone. Just as long as the fingernail details are there when we bake this mesh, that's all I really care about. Doesn't have, I mean, I kind of want it to be as uniform as possible, but as long as we get the point across, I think that's more important. And plus, we can always just style it to look like this one by removing edges as needed. Like we have 1, 2, 3 here, right? Could probably remove what, 2 of these. Well, we got one. Let's see. Keep those. Remove this one, and remove this one. So we remove 3 total. And then it'll look like that one. It'll look like this over here, more like. So now we're going to bring all the vertices up to, or sorry, not vertices, the edges up to the fingernail edge. So we want to get all up underneath that fingernail. That's what we need. If we don't do it, then this is going to kind of be deformed. Like it's going to melt. It's going to melt when we remesh it. And when we bake it, those details will be lost. We've already went through that with our first mesh. I'm not going to go back and fix it, but every future mesh after that, you know, if we make a mistake like that, every future mesh, and we can't, and you know, I feel like we're kind of far in. Like I would have to be doing a lot of stuff for the first mesh in order to fix this now. So we're just going to make sure that we get all the fingernail details on every future mesh. Eyelids, fingernail details, whatever else we're missing, and just generally just try to make our topology more neater. Those are the things that I can think of that need to be worked on for the future. Maybe continue to refine anatomy. But we'll be all right. I think we're on the right track. And we can just remove that line later if we want it to look like this more. It'll be similar. It won't be the same, but it'll definitely be similar. And we're going to be working in vertices for this because we can shape that. We can shape them to however we want. We're going to need that one. And this one. Okay, we can keep going. It's a little, we're going to remove some of these, so I'm not really too concerned about them looking crooked right now. The only thing that I'm concerned about is just bringing them all to the edge of the fingernail. We'll get the rest of it in time. Can I get closer, please? Camera's doing that thing again. I'm not sure what what causes this. It's doing that thing again where we can't get too close now. We need to get way closer than that in order to do this kind of work. For some reason, I can't. Now I can. Okay. We just need to be in orthographic view. Now where was I? Here we are. Well, now we know how to fix that. His fingernails kind of look, because of the amount of polygons, it kind of looks like he just chipped and broke the heck out of all of his fingernails. Imagine trying to scratch your face with this type of fingernail. You would definitely cut yourself. That would not be pleasant. Let's turn it in front and see what we're at here. See, now I'm back in perspective and it's letting me go really close again. So maybe, I don't know. We know how to fix it though. We just go into orthographic view. Okay. Now we can try to style this to look like this. So that way there's some uniformity. We can control it to an extent. Actually, we can control it, period. Just do it right. That's all we really need to do. Let's see. Excuse me. Whoa. Wait, before we connect. Okay, so we can do the sides. You know what? Why don't we just get the other side of the fingernail right now? That way, all we have to do is connect. Okay. Now we just need to go to edges. And we'll just extrude it to about right there. And back to vertices, vertex. Yeah, vertex select. I wanted to see if it said vertices or vertex. I don't know. This is one's plural, one's singular. It doesn't really. I just wanted to see what the program called this mode. Vertex select. Not vertices select. Vertices mode. It's not a thing. I guess you can call it that if you want. All right. Almost there. Was that a big jump? Okay, I guess that's just the way I made it. As long as the details are there. Underneath the fingernail, it doesn't have to be uniform under there. Just as long as we have that surface. And I think we can take this and just triangle it. Triangle it. We didn't do the other side though. Now we did. Okay. Now, so we're going to turn in front back one so we can see the gaps. Not that one. Hey, low bass guy, welcome to the stream. Doing all right. We're working on the fingers here, and we're correcting a mistake that we made on our first mesh, which is not completely covering the fingernails with giant faces, because that detail will be lost. So now we're doing it so that we have a face on every plane of the fingernail. And we're going to do the same thing for the boots, because I made that mistake with the boots too. And a lot of the detail for the shoestrings and the seams that I made were lost in the process. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take the boots off of that mesh, put them on this mesh, retopologize them with the rest of this body the correct way this time. All right. And then UV unwrap them, do everything right, and then put the right boots back on that mesh and have them on this mesh, and then just copy paste them for anybody who needs boots for the rest of the meshes, so we don't have to keep making boots anymore. That's basically it. That's where we're at right now. I should be able to manage copying and pasting the boots. We'll just have we'll have our first asset that we can use that's fully unwrapped, has baked normals, all that stuff. Normal maps, details are done. That's one less thing we have to worry about for the future. We have one pair of boots. And I might do the same thing with the uniforms too. I got to see, because, everyone's have different body types. But I think I can just take the uniforms too and just mold them around the character. If I do it, only thing I'll have to do is just unwrap them again. And that's not a big deal. That doesn't take very long. And retexture them. Because you unrack them, then you got to do the textures again, and then, so on and so forth. We're past that point on our first mesh. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always forget. Can't keep. Let's see. Low Base Guy is a photographer, and he does 3D stuff too. So if that sounds like something in your warehouse, go ahead and give Low Base Guy a follow. Okay, he runs a pretty great community, and is very involved in it. He helps a lot of people out as far as exposure and viewership, support. Pretty decent community, I would say. I was in uh what's that guy's name? He was doing the trees in with the animal and outside F Mead photography, yeah. I was lurking. I think that was last night. I was like right before I went to bed. Yeah, I was playing I was playing Supermarket Simulator and watching you guys. I was in your stream too. Uh that looks weird, doesn't it? But we're going to have to it'll be fine. We can delete some of that. Wait, hold on. Can I get some? No, I can't. For some reason, the program does not let me put loops there, but that's okay. We're gonna try to make it look. I want to try to make them look uniform for from fingertip to fingertip. It ain't gonna be perfect, but we can manage that. I think if I just no, we need what I really need is to be able to put loops here. We might actually be able to do that. Started designing my first new character in years. I've been wanting to dip into Star Trek for ages, but never have. I want to make an Andorian and a Vulcan. I've started scratching out notes for the Andorian. I don't know which one an Andorian is. I've seen a Vulcan, of course. If I were to do a Star Trek character, um, it would be a Deep Space Nine centric character. I think maybe a Cardassian. They have a lot of detail in their skin, so that's something that would I think would pique my interest more than anything. Maybe a Bajoran, even though they only have the nose ridge. But I always like Bajorans and design wise Cardassians. They're kind of POSs, you know. But I do like um Garrick. I think his name is Garrick. Blue skin, white hair, antennas on their head. I may have seen that. Okay, I may have seen that. The one there's another design. I don't know what they're called, but it was from one of the Chris Pine Star Trek movies. They had their head was shaped kind of like a nautilus shell. I don't know the name of that, but it was like a background alien that had that design. I actually took a screenshot of that. Like I want to try something like that. That seemed like a pretty cool design. Sometimes they knock aliens out of even though they're mostly humanoid. I like some of their alien designs like a lot. Maybe a Klingon too. Maybe I try to do a Klingon if I were to do a Star Trek mesh character. I know uh probably probably more different types of aliens in Star Trek than in Star Wars. That's only because one day I had when I was actually when I was designing characters before I got into 3D, I had them on. I had all the shows on. I went from the Next Generation to Voyager on Netflix. So Star Wars has way more. Oh yeah, I'm not downing that. I'm saying my knowledge of the aliens. Um, I only know a few aliens from Star Wars. I know Twi'leks. I know. Well, I don't know if you want to call them droids. I don't think they're not really a species. I guess you could maybe you could classify them as a species. I think they're called Trandoshans. Those are the big lizard, tall lizard people. Usually like bounty hunters or whatever. Um, it's a trap guy. What was this? Calamarians. I know that name. We're called. All right. Like I think I know more Star Trek alien species than I do Star Wars. Anyway, can't I just take what was I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna delete this. Got a little sidetracked. I got a little star tracked. Anyways, yeah, I was thinking. Hang on, we're messing up here. We're screwing up. All right, I want to see what happens if I do this. Okay, it did put a line there, but not in the place that we needed. That would have this would work if I had a vertex right there, but I don't. It's all the way over here. I just wanted to see what would happen. Unfortunate. Let's try that instead. It's not the same as the other finger, but it could work. Try it like that, right? And at the very least, we'll have a vertex. We could put one in the center. Maybe it'll let me. Let me see. Oh, it's still. Well, wait. Where is that at? Yeah, Trandoshans are reptilian. They were first seen in Empire Strikes Back. About. Oh, you know what? I don't even. You know what? I did not even recall that they were in that movie. I saw them. They were in one of the games though. That's how I know them. I played. Were they in Knights of the Old Republic? I don't think so. I don't think they were actually. Oh, Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could actually be a Trandoshan in that MMO. Um, I forget the little guy that helped. What was it? I think it was it Lando Calrissian? He had the guy. It was like the little dude with the he has like a bone plate over his face. I don't know, skin, bone. It looks like he's wearing a it looks like he's wearing a masquerade mask and it's like skin folds. I don't remember what they're called, but I know of them. I just don't remember their name. Oh, is that what they're called? Okay. It does not that doesn't ring a bell. Okay. Ugnaughts. Ugnaughts. Yeah, there's a lot. Star Wars has more though. It seems like they introduce a new alien species every episode in Star Trek. I would be just a little surprised if Star Wars had more species. Maybe these new shows are kind of outpacing them. But then you got the Star Trek probably has more newer shows than Star Wars, right? They got the lower decks. What do they got? Picard, Discovery, some other stuff, right? I don't know. I have not seen any of the new Star Trek stuff, but I've seen a couple of new Star Wars shows. I think I saw a Trandoshan in the Book of Boba Fett, as a matter of fact. We do that. Oops, not G. F. Oh, that's still not right. I mean, it could work. I could make this work, but Star Wars has more alien species, but Star Trek introduces theirs in more detail, typically. Yeah. Yeah, I can't I mean, I guess calamaris come from calamaria or I think they have I think Star Wars is more planet centric as far as like introducing new planets. I don't know. I could be wrong about that too, but you know the names of the galaxies in Star Trek and some of the planets, but Star Wars usually they'll just say the planet and that's it. That's an opinion. I don't know. That's not an informed opinion. Mon Cala. That yep, there it is. That's in the Star Wars galaxies. That planet. Yeah, Mon Calamari. Yeah. With the Quarren. I don't remember the Quarren. I feel like I'm getting. I feel like when I hear Quarren, I feel like I'm confusing that with something from Mass Effect. All right, so we want to keep this. I'm gonna keep that. I'm kind of at a. I'm slightly at a loss here. Hold on. No, we want to keep that, don't we? I want to get rid of this one. Dissolve. Okay, and then dissolve. That's sort of the same. but not really. As long as we have the fingernail detail, it doesn't have to look the same. I can make it look close, but it ain't gonna be the same. And then just delete this one and this one. Corn would be a fun sculpt. They look a bit like a combination of Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean and Zoidberg from Futurama. Oh, were they in? They were in one of the live action shows, weren't they? Like a space. They were like a space pirate, and I feel like they made that design just to kind of have that reference. Like it was a space pirate that kind of like Davy Jones, but he was wider. He was like much wider, and he had the face tentacles and everything. Disney owns that too, so you can't really. There was one in Return of the Jedi. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, I think they had one of those in one of the newer shows too. There's one in Return of the Jedi. The only other place I've seen them are a few episodes of Clone Wars. I have not yet seen Clone Wars. I kind of want to watch it. I know it's going to be a big investment. I know I have a lot of seasons of that, but everyone says, well, everyone who likes Star Wars says that that is good. Sorry, I got something on the back of my throat. And yeah, everyone says Clone Wars is good. I haven't seen those movies in so long. I don't remember which one. If I had to guess, it must have been in the Tatooine scene. All these aliens that I don't remember being in Jabba the Hutt's court base, whatever little flying ship. The thing with Clone Wars is you have to get past the cheesy animation. It's actually very deep and mature show, considering it originally aired on Cartoon Network. Yeah, that's right, it did, didn't it? I just never watched it. I don't know why. You know what I always noticed about the Clone Wars though, the little bit that I did see is like they do like the when they had like a heavy emphasis on a word and they kind of like zoom in or they lean into the camera when they animate them leaning into the camera when they talk a lot. I noticed that they do that a lot in Star Wars. I guess that's probably an example of the cheesy animation that you're talking about. We got going here. I think, yeah, I might just leave it like that. Just as long as we got the fingernail detail, I'm okay with it. Oh, the only thing I remember Bid for Tuna. That's the one guy I can name. Bid for Tuna. And I don't even know why I know that name. I think there was a trading card or something that I saw. Bib Fortuna, the Twi'lek girl that they pushed into the Rancor pit. I know that person. And Princess Leia, Jabba, then there's the little rat dude, little like a skinny gremlin little dude. That guy, I remember that guy. And the oh, you know what were those pigs called? The big boar looking dudes. I used to know that they are in Knights of the Old Republic. That's how I know their name. I don't remember the name of their species though, but I did. I knew it at one point. I just can't recall the name now. Let's move that back a little bit. That Bib Fortuna guy, he had the longest head tentacles that I've ever seen. Crazy thing for me is Ahsoka. When she was first introduced, nobody, including me, gave a nickel for her future. She wasn't mentioned at all in episodes 2 or 3, and Clone Wars occurs between those two movies. We all know what happens to Anakin in episode 3. So when they're like, Anakin is getting a Padawan, we were like, oh, she's going to die. And yeah, that's usually how it is, right? When you add in a character that's in between two established works and you don't hear about, or, it's just a retcon, basically. I'm sure if they had a do over, they would mention Ahsoka in some way, shape, or form because she's so established now. And she ended up outliving everyone in Clone Wars, including Anakin. Yeah, that's crazy, huh? Definitely like a Harlequin or an X-23. You know, those are like the Marvel and DC versions of that character. A breakout character in some offshoot show that just really shoots up in popularity. Now they're kind of like a mainstay. That's basically what Harley Quinn and X-23 from X-Men. They kind of had the same thing that Ahsoka had. And I mean, honestly, I kind of like her the character design. It's in the show anyway. I don't know um her Clone Wars version, but I like the actress Rosario Dawson, and I like the design that they made for her character in that show. You don't really, for someone who was trained by Anakin, she does not fight like Anakin at all. She like they kind of gave her own style. You would think that that there would be some kind of similarity there, right? And I mean, I don't only really have the reference of him fighting with the dual lightsabers within the Attack of the Clones. That's like my only frame of reference. But she doesn't fight like that at all, regardless. She used like the reverse grip. And well, did she do that in the show? I'm not really sure. I know she does that in Clone Wars because every picture I've seen of her, she has the reverse grip. It's more like the Force Unleashed guy, Star Killer. Like he has that kind of like the Satoichi style, which I do believe that's what they were going for with that character. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get around to it. I gotta watch Clone Wars to explain that. Okay. She ended up being one of the most beloved Star Wars characters. She's honestly my favorite Star Wars character. No, but funny story. If you ever play The Force Unleashed, you have Star Killer who was trained by Vader, and he fights exactly like us. So yeah, you're right. That's why. And you know what? I didn't even put that together. I was like, yeah, I mentioned Star Killer, but I was like, wait a minute, Star Killer was trained by Darth Vader. Yeah, I played both of those games. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah. In the show, I don't remember. Like, I'm just talking about specifically in the show. I'm not really sure if because in the show, Star Killer seemed more aggressive with that style. So it didn't. I don't really actually remember. I gotta go back and watch a couple of scenes to see. I don't think she really used that style that much in. I don't know. I could be wrong though. Like I don't know. It's been a while. I don't really think about that stuff. I watch it and then I kind of just go on. It's very I'm a very mild casual when it comes to that stuff. I don't really feel strongly about it one way or the other. I do watch it from time to time. Normally when I'm doing other stuff, so I may have missed some things. I don't watch a lot of shows lately because most of my free time goes into this. So if I do watch something, it'll be while I'm doing other stuff, and I may have missed some little details here and there. Form five, yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah, form five. Yeah, there's like seven forms, right? In form four, that's Obi-Wan's form, right? The defensive one. I know a little bit about that stuff. Yeah, just a little. Anakin Vader's fighting style is also form five. Ahsoka just using the inverted form of that. That works well with the elements of form four that she uses. Was it form three or form four that was the defensive one? The Obi-Wan where he's always doing this. That's like his little style, his defensive style. I'm hitting the camera because my arm width is like right at the camera. It's like it's in a different spot today. So form is basically a lot of acrobatics. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the form that turned him into a quadruple amputee, right? Yoda, right? So okay, so then Obi Wan's is form three. Then they had names once upon a time. All they have all the names in Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know if they're the exact same, but you could change your lightsaber style in that game. Like Soresu, I know that name. That may have been one of the fighting styles I defaulted to in the game. I don't know which form that is, but they all have specific names. I know some of them. The Pad, that's Mace Windu's style. I know that. I know that. I know a little bit, but only a little. Ataru, yeah, that rings a bell. Count Dooku Form Two. That's the fencing style, right? Like the single bladed duelist style. That's normally what I default to in the game in the Knights of the Republic. I would use that style because I never really used the double bladed lightsaber or the two handed the double wield the dual wield. I would always go single and just go duelist, like put all the duelist points up. It seemed better to me to focus on that. Just focus on using one lightsaber and just put all the points into just just doing that. You can get pretty much everything you want out of lightsaber fighting just by doing that. Yeah, it's like this yeah, they put a lot of, well, I don't know, there was like there was a lot of expanded universe stuff. I don't know what is and what isn't now because I know a lot of that stuff's changed, but basically that's what those are some of the things that were in this expanded universe. I don't know what they kept and what they got rid of. Okay, well, it's a fingernail. I can just close off the fingertip. I'm sure there's a way to do this right, and this is probably not right at all. But we're gonna keep going. My learning of retopology is ongoing. I did find some things to study, but right now it's just more like a crash course type. I'm just using what I think I know to you know as a means to an end here. But as we go on, we're going to start it. We're incorporating more and more of what is established. Meanwhile, I'm not informed. Hey, Pipe, welcome to the stream. You'll be informed. You'll get there. Where the heck am I? Oh, wait. Hello there. Sorry, that was my terrible Obi-Wan. Hello there. What the heck? Ah, there it is. So that's an I. I thought that was an L. I'm sorry. Pipin. Awesome game dev. They're doing a visual novel, a visual horror novel. Visual novel horror game. Sorry, I said that wrong. Looks very, very interesting. If you like game dev, check out Pipin 3D. I follow a lot of game dev streams. It really motivates me to try to make a game one day. That's that's kind of a partial reason why I also wanted to learn 3D doing 3D art just to try to keep that door open a little bit. I mean, at this point, I think we could, probably just go off of what we know already. Just got to do the coding part. I got some things off a Humble Bundle for that too. So really, all I have to do is just literally just crack open one of those files and start learning. No, yeah, I guess we're heading in the right direction here as far as this is concerned. Um, you could probably just connect it like that. Like I said, there's probably a more a right way to do this. But we're just gonna close this gap here. Looks fine to me. Yeah, I think we can just close this area off without much trouble here. Uh-oh. Click that. And no problem piping. No problem at all. I gotta get better at doing that. That's one some things sometimes I forget to do that. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's too bad I didn't do this one that way. That's probably closer to how it should be, but we'll improve on that. And we did the we inadvertently did the thumb that way. I don't actually remember putting any thought into this. It just turned out that way. It's just this finger really that we didn't really doesn't have much of a pattern to it. Oh well. Let's save it. I'm gonna do that one again. I'm far from an expert, but when I heard that there were like forms and a lot of lore, I just thought, and why is nothing of this talked in the movies? Oh, well, I can tell you why, because they don't put that much thought into the movie. It's all the interesting stuff from Star Wars comes from the expanded universe, and that's kind of in flux right now. they explain almost nothing. There's not a lot of world building in the movies at all. It all comes from the shows and the books, and a lot of that is not acknowledged anymore. So it's just whatever Disney decides to bring back, like Admiral Thrawn. That's a book from 1992. I figured out. I know that was an established character for a long time. I never read any of the books, so I'm not a Star Wars guy. From most of the stuff that I know is from some of the games that I've played, and I do watch the shows from time to time. But like, I'm not like a huge fan of it. Like I said, I'm a super casual. All that stuff that was mentioned came from something that I did see, and all that stuff is an expanded universe. So in the movies, that I think the most that they've tried to explain was the midi chlorians, and no one liked that one. Yeah, that was mentioned in the merchandise though. Like there were some things that were known before those movies came out, like Emperor Palpatine's name. I think that was in some of the merchandise. Mustafar, and the planet Mustafar, and Darth Vader being horribly burned, that was known before the movies actually portrayed that. Um when I first got into Star Wars, even I knew that much because they had encyclopedias, they had like I said, they had the merchandise. I remember when they first showed they had a limited edition Mace Windu action figure before the movies even came, before episode 1 even came out. And I remember he had a blue lightsaber. Like he originally had a blue lightsaber before they offered that role to Samuel Jackson, and it became purple. But a lot of that stuff was kind of established. I don't know as far as if it was established in a book, but it was known. Novelization of episode 4. Gotcha. Okay, so that's where it came from. Named after the movie came out. Okay. Now I know Chuck Norris infiltrated an Imperial base. Oh, he did he? Yeah, all right. Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense. Usually it's the direct novelizations of the movies that have a lot of I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like sometimes they they kind of fill in the blanks of what should have been explained in the movies. But it's okay. It's not, like I said, it's not something that I'm going to get bent out of shape over. But I don't think George Lucas put a lot of thought into a lot of things that were, established in books and games. Not that it matters. I mean, it's somewhat interesting. You're not going to get the type of Harry Potter world building in a Star Wars story. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I've never read Harry Potter either. Not even sure how many of the movies I've seen. I may have seen like the first three, and I don't even remember them at this point. The actor who originally played the Emperor was actually a woman. Yeah, I knew that. I did know that. They had different makeup too. I remember how it looked. It was like kind of like they had like it was like weird, these like almost like these ET eyes, but they were very narrow eyelids. When I first saw that, I did not like the idea that Darth Vader had a boss. When I first, all the years leading up to me actually watching Star Wars, I thought Darth Vader was the main guy. He was the one who ran the Empire. I thought it was better that way. But then when they introduced the Emperor, I did not like that concept at first. But the Emperor is one of my favorite characters because this is how laughably evil he is for no apparent reason whatsoever. And Ian McDermott's performance is you could tell he likes playing that character. So he's that's one of my favorite characters. They dubbed her voice with a man's voice, and I can't remember the actor's name. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't remember what she sounded like in The Empire Strikes Back, but I do remember how she looked. The concept that Vader's story is tragic one is a thing that grows on you. Yeah, yeah. I just think the execution of that could have been better in the prequels, but I'm not an expert. I think there were some they could have done it better, but the point is across. Ian McDermott is presently a theater teacher. Yeah, he was a. I mean, he seems like a theater person in general. I did. I mean, I knew he came from theater. I didn't know that. I don't know his theater background specifically, but he seems to me like a theater actor, big time theater guy. Yeah, makes sense. I know. Uh, Patrick Stewart's like that too, isn't he? Oh yeah, I guess we could just finish the edge loop. That would help. That would help with doing this finger. One, two, three, four, five. I like when world building. That's something that I appreciate, in because that's something that I trying to do. I like when people get world building right. Whatever that means, right? When people do world building to a point where it's very interesting. I like that. Yeah, Ian McKellen. I can see Hugh Jackman doing that stuff. I didn't know. I don't think I knew about that, but yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't know who Tom Hiddleston is. I'm sorry. I probably know what he looks like, but I don't know his name. Ah, the heck? Bump back of my head. Ooh. Immediately before being cast as Wolverine, Hugh Jackman was doing Oklahoma on Broadway. Oh, okay, yeah. It's funny. I get him, um, um, Benedict Cumberbatch, and what's his name, Matt Smith. I get them mixed up for some reason. They look completely different from each other, but I get them mixed up often, and I don't know why. When I'm thinking of one, I think of the other. Were they all in Doctor Who or something? I know one of them was. I'm not sure if all of them were. I've never watched Doctor Who, so I mean, there it is. I just know them by association with other works. Do I just want to attach this to this? Do I just want to do that? I think I do want to do that because I am going to do it. Yeah, well, we'll just go ahead and just continue doing the ring finger here. I think we can just close this up. I'm gonna work on the meaty portion of the finger before we start around any of the knuckle joints. Uh-oh. Click the wrong button on that one, didn't we? Just go all the way around. I was when I heard about that world between worlds type deal, it sounded like they were going to do multiverse stuff for Star Wars. You know, his musical career, theater background really surprised me. Christopher Walken. I didn't know that until I saw him in Hairspray. Yeah, that is surprising. That's not a world that I follow too closely, but I know some people were heavily involved in it. Like Helen Mirren did that stuff. Apparently, she was just stripped in front of the audience. I don't know, and you know certain actors. I only know a couple for certain that do it, but I know there's a lot of actors who are in that world. Hmm. Let's go around some more. Uh oh. Uh oh again. Uh oh again and again. All right, so we're back. We're back to where we started. That's why you don't want to have your view obstructed when you're extruding. It'll just snap to the closest thing to you. It could be through another body part. You want to have a clear view of what you're doing, so that does not happen. You haven't lived until you heard Chris Walken sing "You're Timeless to Me" with John Travolta as Edna, his wife. Wow, I had no idea. Actually, you know what? I don't think I've seen any kind of Hairspray work. It the movie sounds familiar. Maybe I did see the movie. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've only seen like high school productions. That's where my that's that's my personal experience begins and ends. At least I think they were the last one that I've seen. I think that was a high school production. I'm not sure. Like somebody was doing Aladdin or something. I don't know who they were. I don't remember, but I was there, and yeah, that's it. That's all I have. I never actually seen a real theatrical production. It was originally a Broadway play, I think. Then it was adapted by John Waters into a movie with Ricky Lake. Okay, I definitely seen it then. I remember Ricky Lake being in it. Yes, I saw that movie. I don't remember it, but I saw it. I think we have enough here to attach the finger to the hand. What in the world happened there? Oh, I know what happened. We're on the wrong mode. Duh. Yeah, I guess that'll work. I don't feel like I don't have a surefire way of doing in between the fingers to where it's always consistent because I think of all the hands that I've created, they were all generally different sizes and shapes. They seem the same because I make them the same, but I don't think they are. Edna Turnblad is one of those female characters that for some reason historically has always been played by a man and nobody, and I mean nobody did it better than John Travolta. I'm not surprised. You know, he seems like he would put himself out there. He's one of those types that would really get into a role. John Travolta, I started watching his movies when he was let's see. I think the first movie that I actually saw John Travolta in was Face Off. And then from there I started watching whatever movie he was in. I went back and saw Broken Arrow. And then I'm pretty sure I saw Pulp Fiction after I saw Face Off. I'm pretty sure. And that's for Nick Cage and John Travolta. I didn't watch any of their movies until after I saw Face Off. And Swordfish and even Battlefield Earth. I don't know what the deal was with that movie, but I did see it more than once. I can't say I'm a fan, but it was like kind of like one of those ironic and like this. It's just so bad. I just want to watch it. We would just watch it. Me and one of my friends would watch it, and we would just like laugh at it. It was like hilarious to us for some reason. Do you want lunch? Like that sounds like the type of things that only John Travolta could do. I don't honestly remember my first John Travolta movie. I want to say it's Grease, but I'm not positive. I've never seen Grease. But yeah, definitely Face Off for me. And it wasn't even like, oh, I gotta see it. It was just one day it was on. And I was like, I heard that people liked it. It was made by John Woo. I was not really into John Woo movies until after Face Off, I think. I want to say that's the way it was. I can't think of any John unless he made, let's see, the closest thing to a John Woo movie that came from China that I actually saw, unless he made Heroic Trio, which I doubt he did, then Face Off was probably my first John Woo movie. And then I saw like Hard Boiled and Better Tomorrow like later, much later in life. Charlie and Fat. Wait, he made something with what was it? The Replacement Killers? Was that a John Woo movie? I may have seen that one first actually. Replacement Killers. What was the one with Mark Wahlberg? Chow Yun Fat, Mark Wahlberg. They were like working like the Chinese neighborhoods in New York, like Chinatown. Yes, the Chinese neighborhood. Yeah, Chinatown. Was it? No, it's not the professional. It's I can't remember the name. It's right on the tip. It's right there. Ajax strong against Greece. I know what you meant. That's okay. Greece. Everybody knows Greece. I've never seen it, but I know of it. I even know like some of the songs during Greece. It has that type of osmosis. It's like a part of it's like a staple, like a pop culture staple. So I know enough. Uh yeah, Replacement Killers. I'm pretty sure that is a John Woo movie. That may have been the first actually, and then the one with Chow Yun Fat and Mark Wahlberg. I'm not sure if that was a John Woo movie, but I saw that nonetheless. And then later I saw Broken Arrow. I didn't like that one as much though. It's John Travolta being John Travolta. And then on Nick Cage's side, I went back and saw The Rock, which I actually owned. We actually had that movie in my house for years, and I never watched it. And I kind of regret it because it's like something I would have watched as a kid. You know, I liked action movies a lot. The Rock, Con Air. Regardless of what you think of those movies, they were mildly entertaining. They're not exactly you know masterpieces, but they had their little entertainment value. And 8 millimeter, Snake Eyes. What else was he in? I don't know. I actually don't remember Raising Arizona. I don't know if I've actually seen that or Vampire Kiss. A I think that was a Nick Cage movie. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, The Corruptor. Thank you, low base guy. That's the name of it. Is that a John Woo movie? That's what I need to know. Is that a John Woo movie? It is not. Okay, that's just a Chow Yun Fat movie. Well, yeah, and so those were my One of those two. I don't remember which one I saw first, but that was my introduction to Chow Yun Fat. And then, as I started watching more and more Hong Kong movies, I was like, okay, I get it now. Now I understand. This is where that came from. The certain the tropes that we see in action movies sometimes that John Woo himself helped bring over. I want to say those types of movies. I think um, Jackie Chan was my introduction to that. Those types of Hong Kong movies. After Rumble in the Bronx was really big over here, as you probably know if you like those types of movies. Rumble in the Bronx was like that was it. That was the movie that was like, oh, okay, this guy, right? And then it's like, okay, well, shoot, that's Jackie Chan. I'm watching that, and then you just see all of his movies. Did you know Jackie Chan used to be on Bruce Lee's stunt team? Yep, he's the guy that Bruce Lee in the Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee grabs him by the hair. That's Jackie Chan. And when he's doing the multi melee with the nunchucks and they're chasing him, yeah, Jackie Chan is in that scene. So and Sammo Hung's in the beginning. That's another guy. He doesn't look like it, but that guy's he's very good at martial arts. You don't expect people who are like heavy set to move that quickly or be that flexible, but he can do it. That's Sammo Hung right there. Yeah, he's the guy that Bruce Lee broke his neck in Enter the Dragon. Yeah, he killed Bruce. He killed Jackie Chan. That Jackie Chan unfortunately did not make it. But in every other movie he makes it. I want to know the story of that Jackie Chan character. Like, what made him work for the bad guy? Jackie Chan does not like being the bad guy. He didn't want to be typecast. He was the original choice to play Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man, but he turned it down because he didn't want to be the bad guy. He wanted to be typecast as the bad guy in Hollywood. That probably would have happened if he would have did that, because that's kind of what happened to Jet Li. Jet Li probably played more villains than, um, well, I mean, obviously he did, but I think he played more villains in Hollywood than he did in Hong Kong. So, but I think he kind of transcended that. I think he kind of broke out of that mode a little bit. Oh yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, yeah, he broke his neck too, and then he put his little gi over his body. Yeah, I saw that. Keep killing him. That was just a fight. Just who was better. That was what that was. I didn't really see Chuck Norris as a bad guy in that movie. They just needed one of them had to go, and since it was a Bruce Lee movie, it was not going to be Bruce Lee. This area looks suspect, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Hey, welcome, Realness. Where the dragon felt like it ended, then Chuck Norris showed up. He also killed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Game of Death, and that was after he died. Yeah, that's my favorite Bruce Lee movie, Game of Death, and of course it's the unfinished one. I think all the scenes, even though it's literally just the fighting scenes that I think they completed, and maybe like one or two scenes where they actually go into the tower. Uh, I thought those scenes were better than Enter the Dragon. Like the movie was done, but the producer was like, "Oh shit, we forgot a big bad." If only. It would have been nice to see where his career would have went if he had still been alive, but alas, by the time I was born, he was already long gone. So I only knew that Bruce Lee died after Dragon the Bruce Lee story came out. I think my mom told me like that he had already died. Into the Dragon slander. No, I like Game of the Death more than Enter the Dragon. I'm. I'm not ashamed to say that. Think about it. The iconic yellow suit comes from an unfinished movie. How many times have you seen that yellow suit? But then again, how many times have you seen the black pants, the black pants version of Bruce Lee done in other movies too? So, I can't really say just Bruce Lee in general is what went on, I feel like I would have enjoyed Game of Death if they had finished it while he was still alive, but I did not enjoy the chop job they did trying to finish it after his death. I didn't even watch that. Didn't even see it. I didn't want to see it, and I'm still not going to see it. The Game of Death that Bruce Lee is in, that is the only thing that I'm interested in. I saw a documentary on on that too. I think it came on a long time ago, and I was still in school, and I saw a little bit of what when they tried to fill in the blanks. I was like, I'm never gonna watch that. It looked terrible. It just looked terrible. Like no, no. But they should have just taken the footage and just, I mean, well, they did, but just leave it as is. It doesn't need to be added to. You can't add to it. You're not Bruce Lee. He was the one. He was that was his project. You can't finish somebody else's. That's like me coming in and just like say like if George Lucas was like, okay, guys, I'm back. I'm doing uh episode 10. It's back in my hands now. Everybody cheers, yay, right? And then halfway through it, he dies, and then they were like, hey, Ace, you're going to finish it, you. And I'm like, okay, and then I finish it, and it's complete garbage because I'm not a Star Wars guy. I don't know what he was going to do. I'm not seeing it with his vision. Okay, even if I tried my very best, it probably would not get one good review from anyone. Okay, that's basically what they did. Some guy just came in and was like, "Yeah, I'll finish it," and then just, yeah, this is, yeah, here, right here. This is let's just say let's say episode 10 had an actor who also passed during the production. Yeah, here, okay, here, this guy here's Danny DeVito. He's the new Luke Skywalker. Okay, I would get crucified for the rest of my life if I did that. Okay, probably in real life too. They'd probably find me and kill me. I haven't seen Game of Death, but I think Enter the Dragon is kind of shit. I mean, I don't know, like if it's because of the time it came out, or of every other movie that may have been influenced by it that turned out to be better. There's definitely better martial arts movies out there now. Honestly, I'm not a freaking guy who's going to put Bruce Lee over everything, because there are people out there who will do that, and I don't care about how they feel about it. But I think The Raid is better than Enter the Dragon. Sorry, actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I don't even know why I said that. The current CCO of Lucasfilm is Dave Filoni. Star Wars is in good hands if they give him the freedom to create. Filoni is a massive Star Wars fan, and he is the creator of the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Resistance. He also heavily influenced The Mandalorian. Yeah, I've heard about him. I've seen some. Wait, have I seen any of that? Actually, no, I haven't. I haven't seen anything that he made, but I know he's the guy they're championing as the guy who should take over Star Wars. But I've heard some people say that he's not that he's, I don't know, they're blaming him for some things too, is what I'm trying to say. I can't really say in detail because I don't know that side of it, but I know there are some people who are not satisfied with Filoni's work. I don't know anything about that though, so I mean I'm just putting that out there. If they made Star Wars with Danny DeVito as Luke Skywalker, I would spend my entire paycheck watching that movie. LOL, the time it came out makes it worse. The 70s was the best decade of filmmaking. There were a lot of influential movies that came out in the 70s. And Enter the Dragon is one of them, but It's not the greatest in my opinion. It's not the greatest martial art movie of all time. I think there are movies during that time that are probably uh better than, well, you know what? No, because back then there was no kung fu movies that were like that really back then. They were all still doing the very theatrical sets. You know, they have the, you know, the long pony, the flying around. Bruce Lee didn't like that stuff. That's why he made the movies that he made the way he made them. He was like, this isn't this isn't what our movies are anymore. You know, he decided that that was a bad representation of martial arts. You know, the very theatrical dance type wushu that they would do in those movies, which I mean, I still appreciate them. Sometimes I go back and watch them. I think I can't remember the last one that I've seen right now, right this second. I would have to pull up my browser and look at my history, but you know, they are for them and they're okay for what they are, you know. But they were all like that. All those movies were like that back then. And Bruce Lee wanted to do something different. He wanted to change it, and he did. He did change it. And then martial arts movies started becoming, you know, more I would say serious and more technical than the very like stage stagey performances that those movies used to do. They're blaming him for things that were out of his control. That's always the case, isn't it? That's why I made it a point to say if they give him the freedom to create. I know he doesn't have more say than Kathleen Kennedy. So yeah, I just don't know how involved he was. So I didn't want to elaborate on anything further because I don't know. A lot of things he worked on, he either was not brought in until much later, like with the Mandalorian, or Disney overruled him and chopped up what he did. Enter the Dragon had the mainstream appeal because the James Bond plot and lack of subtitles. Oh, are you talking? Wait, are you talking about? You saying Enter the Dragon had a James Bond plot? Because yeah, I guess that would make sense. It does play like a James Bond movie, but it's martial arts. Didn't I felt like even James Bond was kind of influenced by that type of movie. Like, what was the one where he went to Japan? Uh, was it a You Only Live Twice? I think. And he goes to Japan and they kind of like dress him up like a Japanese person. It's got like probably uh not in the way that people would portray that these days. But you know, they got the whole Tiger Tanaka guy, and you know he's got like a Japanese kid by some woman. I forget what was her name. Kissy Suzuki. That's right. I've only seen that movie once. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago, but I remember a lot about it. Um, James Bond's okay. You know, I mean, it's all right. If you look at the best things that Lucasfilm made since the original movies, they were the things that he had the most direct control over. Clone Wars is a prime example of that. Yeah, the Ninja Poison. Yeah, that came up during the craze of, you know, very Eastern Asian influenced themes and movies and whatnot. James Bond got in on that too, and James Bond does that a lot. You know, whatever is the thing to do at the time, you bet your bottom dollar, okay, that James Bond will incorporate some form of that into the newest James Bond movie. It's kind of like a thing they do. They kind of do follow trends somewhat from time to time. Like when, you know, when the big thing back in the early 2000s after the Bourne came out, the very heavily edited fight scenes, they did that for Casino Royale when they reinvented Bond after the whole gadgety, glamoury, you know, Pierce Brosnan movies were done. You know, and it's kind of weird because it started with the grittiness, right? GoldenEye had that that very gritty feel to it, with like a layer of the whole high life stuff that James Bond likes to do on it. But they kind of shot it very seriously, somewhat, and then from they just moved away from that from some reason for some reason. And I'm trying to like understand why they did that. Was there? I'm trying to think. Was there something that came out that were like made them go in that direction? I'm not really sure. I feel like Austin Powers even influenced James Bond somewhat because the whole thing with Austin Powers is you know Doctor Evil turns out to be his brother, and they kind of did that with Blofeld, who Doctor Evil was based off of in what was it, Spectre? Was that the one? Spectre, or was it yeah, it was Spectre, wasn't it? Or was it Skyfall? I don't remember. But yeah, they even took some things from the parody of at least it seems that way. I don't know, but Austin Powers did that first in Goldmember. That's crazy. And they just like, you know what? Now we're gonna do it. I don't know if that was the case, but Austin Powers did do it first. Yeah, 70s, 80s Bond. Yeah. Timothy Dalton. Yeah, because License to Kill, and The Living Daylights. Those are the ones. That's how I knew James Bond. That's how I first came into it. I remember seeing those ads like magazines and whatnot. He would be there with this little golden PP7 pistol. It would always be him right there, and like they would have these products like watches and whatnot. They had those in a lot of magazines. What the heck? We had those in a lot of magazines in the in that during that time. I remember seeing that. I was very young, but I still remember that because I did like License to Kill a lot. It had quite a few actors in there. You had Benicio del Toro in there. Um, the guy from Die Hard, the FBI guy that tries to kill John McClane. I think his name was Robert Davi. And then you had the lady, what was her name? Talzia Soto. I don't remember her name, but she was Katana. And then Shang Tsung was in it. Uh, I forget his name. I'm sorry. They had a lot of actors in License to Kill, and two of them were in Mortal Kombat. Yeah, yeah, he's. And then what was it? The guy who always plays the angry police chiefs. I don't remember his name. He died though. The big black guy with the mustache. He was in Last Action Hero. He was in um 48 Hours, I think. Was he in? Yeah, he was in 48 Hours, and even in the Loaded Weapon, the parody with Samuel Jackson and uh Emilio Estevez. That's his name. But he would always play. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he would always play that guy. Like he was Felix Leiter in those days. No, he wasn't Felix Leiter, but he was one of James Bond's friends basically in that movie. One of those movies anyway. I'm not sure if it was License to Kill. It might have been Living Daylights. It's been a while since I've seen him. Gonna go right up there. We're just gonna do the same thing we did with the finger there. I don't know. Gotta see if we can try to get this one looking like that one. We'll figure it out. I am slightly curious how they're going to reboot James Bond again this time. I don't know. I thought that the overall the Daniel Craig movies were pretty good. Although I wasn't really a big fan of Quantum of Solace. I didn't like that. I think that was the weakest one out of all of them. But they were all right in general, So as far as they did, the action and how they wrote it, I want to see how they do the next ones. I mean, let's be honest, James Bond is not exactly known for continuity. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true. Part of that reason is because of licensing. I think they didn't have the rights to do Blofeld for a very long. That was someone else owned that character, so that was the reason why you didn't see him very often outside of the older movies. Like when they started doing, I would say from the '80s onward, you didn't really see. That's like his arch nemesis, and he doesn't show up again until uh Skyfall. Spectre, I don't remember which one. Whichever one had, he started coming back. That was when they were like, okay, we can use this guy again. But there was he did a lot of movies where that guy was just not present, and that was like this guy killed James Bond's wife. He killed he killed a lot of people in his life. Okay, and he's like mysteriously absent from a lot of the more modern James Bond movies. But yeah, part of the reason was because they didn't own the rights. So to be fair, Star Wars didn't get good at it either until George Lucas stepped away. In fact, prior to Disney takeover, the expanding universe that he didn't have anything to do with had the most continuity. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. He's more of an idea guy, and then someone else would try to make those ideas make sense. It wasn't too bad um, when he was in control of everything. It was just I don't know why he did the things that he did, but he basically did at least one of those movies just straight because they had like behind the scenes stuff. He did at least one of those movies off of the first draft of a script, and I don't think that's a good idea. Like even as someone who I am a complete amateur. Like I don't know, I can't tell someone who is in the industry what to do, but not even I would do like write a story off of the rough draft and just go straight to just doing pages. Like I've been editing my story for a couple of years now, and now I kind of get why George R. R. Martin is the guy who does Game of Thrones. Why he has not. Yeah, I kind of understand where why he doesn't just make the books that everyone's waiting for. It's a lot of work, especially when someone like him who does a lot of world building. He has to manage a lot of characters. I'm not even doing any of that, right? And I still wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, I'm done writing it. Let's start doing pay. No, you got to make sure I don't know. You got to kind of cultivate what you wrote there. It's not that's not the end, but that's what George Lucas did for at least episode one. So I don't know. Remember in episode 5 and 6, Obi-Wan says that Yoda is the Jedi Master who instructed him in episode one. It's like, who the hell is Qui-Gon? Yeah, that's true. He did say that. The one that stood out to me, I think it was like they said 1,000 years, and then they changed it to they either said 1,000 generations and they changed it to 1,000 years, or it was vice versa. But that was another error too on their part. I mean, it's not hard to just watch your movies over again and just get like a general outline of what you did, or should I say, what was established in the movies, and then just build off of that, but backwards, because you're working with a prequel. Honestly, I think he should have just done the low budget versions of he should have just done episode one, two, and three first, and just work within the technology they had back then. They could have done it. They did Star Wars. You could have done episode one with Star Wars technology. He just chose not to do it for whatever reason, or I don't know. I don't know why he didn't do it because I honestly don't know that story. But I do know that he said that he it wasn't technologically possible to do episode one, two, and three back then. And all I gotta say about that is why? Why isn't it? You did speeders. What do? You rubbed a little Vaseline underneath the speeder to hide the wheels. You can't do that for a pod race. I don't think he. I don't think he had an idea for episode one, two, and three. I think he just came in the middle of his own story and he just didn't know how to start it. That's what I think. I could be wrong though, but I don't know. I don't think he had an idea of how to do one, two, and three. He just. I think it's two things. Yeah, what do you think, realness? I honestly, I George Lucas didn't have shit ready. Okay, that does throw me off when movies in a franchise are so far apart that the technology used to make the movies has advanced a lot. If you look at Star Trek historically, it has been fairly low budget even for the technology of its time. And as much as I like a lot of the newer Star Trek, it does throw me off. For me, I think the way they lit it is why it looks so different. You can make anything look like anything. All right, they had Deep Space Nine episodes where they legit made him look like he was actually in the original series show. So why can't you just do that all the time? Just make the new movies look like they're in the next generation time, or sorry, in the original series as well, right? You literally make anything like anything. I don't know, but I think because they made the changes they made to kind of try to make it retro, like it takes place in the past, but it's an updated past. The way they solved it was it's in a completely different timeline, but still, they could have made it look closer to the original series if they wanted. George Lucas isn't an artist; he's a tech guy. Lucas Arts is way more of a tech company than a film company. Hmm, yeah, maybe so. I always didn't. I never understood why he said why they always that was always the reason. They jumped in at A New Hope instead of the Phantom Menace. It never made sense to me, even as a kid. I'm like, what? I don't know. Oh, hands down, Deep Space Nine had the best crossover with the original series of any other series, and I'm including the Next Generation, which actually had Spock and Scotty. Yeah, they had a. They didn't get a great send off in Generations, did they? Just drop a bunch of rock, or you throw Kirk off of a cliff, and then you just put a bunch of rocks on him and just leave him there. If I was William Shatner, I would have been. I'd be bitter about that. He probably is. He doesn't have very nice things to say about Star Trek today, but it's probably because of the way they treated his character. The crossover in Deep Space Nine was masterful. Yeah, I was like, I thought it was pretty well made. I was like, and it kind of makes me wonder, why, if they really wanted to be true to something, they easily could. The answer is always going to be artistic license. Okay, everybody has their own spin or their own take on what is and what isn't. When Cisco handed the data pad to Kirk, I legit cried. Oh yeah, yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool episode. And I'm not even really into the original series like that. Um, it's just because I haven't really sat down and watched it. I know a couple of episodes from it, but I didn't really see all the episodes of it. I started with the Next Generation because when I came into this earth, that was Star Trek to me, and then seeing the old Star Trek, like, oh yeah, okay. It's not. It wasn't the Star Trek of my time. Next Generation had just came out when I first heard of Star Trek. Actually, you know what? When was the first year that the Next Generation came out? It was like 87, right? Something like that. Yeah, 87. Okay. So yeah, I was very young in that year, but I do remember uh Star Trek: The Next Generation being a thing. That may have been in the years after. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. I don't know. I don't really. I don't think I remember much from that year, but maybe 88, 89. You know, when you start actually forming memories. I remember Star Trek: The Next Generation being a thing. I just can't pinpoint the year. Miami Vice, all that stuff was still on TV. You know, I remember watching those things. The original series was a little hard to watch for me because my first Star Trek was Next Generation. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like, it's just different. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of, it was already surpassed by what you did see. It's like it's kind of like a step backwards when you're looking in the past. It's like it's kind of like you watching the thing that was influenced by the original and then going back into the original and not being very impressed because you've already seen it in something that was influenced by that. They have a name for that, but I don't remember I don't think I think they have a name for that, but anyway. Next TNG had a better opening theme. Yeah. They were trying to go for some kind of nomination for each of those intros. Like they were really trying to win something with those intros. All of them really. At least up in, I don't know, I don't know Enterprise. I haven't watched that yet. That's the next one I'm gonna watch when I feel like watching Star Trek. I want to see what Enterprise is about. I heard it was worth watching. I don't know. But I'll find out. Shatner probably would have got better treatment if he had actually agreed to combat for cameos, but he got so tired of being known as Kirk that he turned them down constantly. I mean, what else is he known by? That cop show, right? Did he do a cop show or a detective show? Honestly, anybody who was on Star Trek is known for that. But it's okay. I know he's not the only person who wants to. He's they're kind of like away from that world. Cisco's like that too. He doesn't want to do any more Star Trek. Yeah, T.J. Hooker. Yeah. Oh wait, why is that? Automod. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, T.J. Hooker. Yeah. I knew it was one of those cop shows. Yeah, come on, man, T.J. Hooker. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Context, stupid voice to text. Yeah. Loop cut and slide. Yeah, we're gonna do this again. I need to see the entire arm though, because it's gonna go all the way up. Oh wait, it's not gonna go all the way up. Okay, that's less work for me, I guess. Oh, not that. I could have moved this. Wait, there. Sometimes you just gotta alt tab or sorry, control Z back and just enough to fix the mistake that you just made. Just a little bit. Just a little tweak. We want these lines showing so we can delete them. So I know exactly where to click. And about right here. We're not going to delete because this is what happens when you delete it. You don't want that. You want dissolve. I'm going to leave this line here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get that line too. Dissolve. Don't want to confuse dissolve and delete because they're actually two different things. And we made here's a mistake that we missed here, but that's okay. That's all right. We're going to fix it. Okay, we have two different faces here, I think. I just need to see where the face is. Oh wait, you know what? Maybe we don't have to delete it. Maybe we could just switch it. No, I feel like there's something on top of something else. All right, so I think we are not at 10 yet, so we can just Control Z back a ways. Let's just delete the face. Now we delete. There's no other alternative. Yeah, there's a face in there somewhere. There it is. You know what? We can just delete that. Why can't I click that, huh? Delete that too. Huh? How you like that? I like them apples. There it is. You know what we can do now? There. Quick and easy. Yeah, I gotta see. I might just leave it on one day, and just marathon it again, even the ones that I've seen. But I got it. I saw up from TNG up to Voyager, and I got to see Enterprise. I've seen all the movies already, I believe. Actually, you know what? The one movie I didn't see was Generations. That was the only one. But I know how it ends, so I didn't bother watching it. I was like, okay, like I'm cool. But actually the only Star Trek movie I have not seen, and maybe one of the maybe something after 4, 5, and 6, Star Trek 4, 5, and 6. I don't think I've seen those either, but I'm probably not missing anything. I've seen the first three, or maybe the first two. Ooh, we don't want to do that. Was it Wrath of Khan and then the motion picture? I do remember seeing those, and then I've seen First Contact, which is, even though there's some you're always gonna get some kind of problem with a time movie for some reason, because I don't know, those are like the easiest ones to mess up, time plots. I do like plots. I like time travel. I know there's a lot of people who don't like time travel plots, but I like time travel plots. I don't mind them, but they mess them up a lot. All you have to do is just follow your own rules that you set, right? But people have trouble doing that for whatever reason. But I do like First Contact. I don't think that's a bad time travel movie per se. They did not have to like. They didn't have to be the ones to be on the first flight. I feel like that's just I don't know, what would you call that? It's very fan servicey, right? That they have to be involved with the first flight. Now they kind of have to change history in their favor. They couldn't just fix history, but now they have to be on the first warp drive flight. Because they are the next generation crew. They have to be involved with that now. Other than that, I kind of like the Borg. I think they were, there was a part, there was a moment where Borg were overused, and I think they are using them still to this day. But back when the Borg were, less prevalent, they were. I didn't mind them in the movie. Enterprise heavily referenced First Contact. Even got James Cromwell to play Zephyr Cock. Oh, okay, they actually brought him back. That's cool. Because he would still be alive during that time, right? Because they're on their first, Federation is just getting up off the ground. I do like the episodes that explore the events leading up to the Federation. I think Deep Space Nine did some of that stuff too. Like they had like a bunch of wars and famine and whatnot. It was a very chaotic time. But you don't really get to see that in First Contact. It's just that and the Borg. That was a perfect time to see like how the rest of the world building would have been for that, for that time period. But they just really just focused on the first space flight, which was out in the wilderness, away from all the interesting stuff in that time period, and the Borg. But I still like First Contact, so it's okay. No, he had died by the events of Enterprise, but he appears in recordings and flashbacks, and Captain Archer had met him as a kid. There's a 100-year gap between the events of First Contact and Enterprise. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense too, because it ain't gonna just okay. Yeah, we got the first warp. Vulcan saw us. All right, now everything's just suddenly just advanced. That makes sense. But you never know. The way some people handle certain stories. It's not out of the realm of possibility that that's what happened. So I can't be sure until I see it. Sometimes, stories make these incredible leaps in logic and technology in a very short amount of time, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened. That's all I'm saying. You never know. I don't think I've heard anything bad about Enterprise, so if that is what happened, I'm sure they have an explanation for it, right? But it didn't happen, so it's neither here nor there. Okay, so we have two instead of the three that we sent here. But you know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'll figure it out. Yeah, and Enterprise says a really good job of talking about how the Vulcans were afraid of humans because of how quickly they developed warp and advanced to launching the first warp five capable ships, and because of that, actively tried to hold them back. Those Vulcans. Oh wait, it's not It wouldn't be those Vulcans. It would be those Romulans. Those are always the very sneaky ones. That's a very Romulan thing to do. But Vulcans are the good one, the good guys, right? Romulans are like those are the ones that are like very sneaky, very underhanded group of people. No, it's definitely the Vulcans, but the Romulans also have a part in Enterprise. Gotcha. It would be funny though if like it's like, oh no, yeah, the Vulcans they're holding us back, and then you just see like a Romulan warbird like behind the moon, just cloaked, and they just never say anything. You just see it, you just know it's there. That would be hilarious if they did that. Like it's never addressed. It's just like everything just gets blamed on the Vulcans, but it was actually the Romulans the entire time. The Romulans did a lot of shady crap in Enterprise and then blamed it on the Vulcans. Yeah, see, and that sounds on brand. And I'm not a Trekkie. I like Star Trek, but I don't know everything about Star Trek. I'm not like a big fan about it, but I know enough. That sounds like something Romulans would do. I played the Sega Genesis game of um, Deep Space Nine. It was called Crossworlds at the time. That was probably the height of my interest in Star Trek in general. Besides watching, going back and watching the shows that I said a couple of years ago. It was now. I think that was in 2019. I was doing that. But no, the Vulcans did their share of shady crap as well in the early days. I don't want to spoil it too much for when you see it, but you'll figure it out when you watch. Oh, okay. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna get back to it. I haven't really, like I said, I haven't really been watching anything, but when I do feel like watching something, then um, usually I'll just binge it. That's up next as far as Star Trek is concerned. I saw they had something new for Star Wars too. It was like a Goonies or like a Stranger Things esque show, but Star Wars. I don't know how to feel about that. I haven't seen Stranger Things yet. That's another one that I need to catch up on. But it did have a very Goonies vibe, and I did see the Goonies. They got a few shows out for Star Wars now. Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago I did actually manage to watch Ahsoka and or however you say her name, I don't know. I watched the entire show. I still and what's the other one? The Acolyte. I like the martial arts sequences they put in Acolyte. If they do all of the fights like that from then on, I would be okay with that. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's all right, I guess. I didn't feel like I said I don't really feel strongly about it one way or the other. Star Wars Goonies sounds awesome. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I got from man, what is it even called? It's a new show that they released a trailer on. And I decided to watch it. It was on YouTube, and yeah, basically that's the vibe I got from it. Huh. You know what? We're just gonna keep extruding, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna switch back to vertex. Whoa, that is not what we want. And let's just undo that. Now we switch back to vertex, and then we can just shape it however we want with the vertex mode. Oh yeah, I did catch up on Mandalorian season 3, and was there something else? No, I guess not. I haven't seen. I saw a little bit of Bad Batch. I have not seen Rebels, but watching Ahsoka, I felt like I should have watched Rebels because that might as well have been called. That might as well have been called Star Wars Rebels subtitle because I felt like it was more about the Rebels characters than it was about Ahsoka, but it was okay though. Like I have no prior knowledge other than the fact that they were in Rebels, and I know that they were in Rebels, but I've never actually watched Rebels. Let's see. Oh, well, that was a perfect guess. Oh, all right, we're gonna bring it right up to the edge. Hey, like this. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try to complete the fingernail. I know it's Star Wars, but one criticism I have for what they're doing is they should put Jedi's on the back burner for a while. All right, that's what I think they should do, and get away from the Empire. That's really the only two criticisms that I have for the direction that they are moving Star Wars in currently. I think they need to give them make the Jedi mysterious again. I feel like they're doing too much with the Jedi. That's what I think. Like with Andor, they should do more things like that, but without the Empire. Because I think we got it. We know where they're gonna go. They're going down. All right, they're going down. And First Order too. All right, no more. You can have a war without having to involve an empire. Okay, it can still be Star Wars without empires versus rebels. You can make it more smaller scale. You can do I don't know. There's more. There's a lot of things they could do. That's really the only thing that I would say I would want to see in the future. If I had to criticize something. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to pull that one, not make another one. I want a Star Wars gangster story. Well, that's Book of Boba Fett. I don't know if they'll do that one. That one was not well received, but not that one. Yeah, I bet not. They could have done that with Boba Fett. They kind of made him like, I don't know. They took the edge away from him. He's not like I don't know. I feel like it would take a little more than just getting swallowed by a giant creature to just turn into a good guy all of a sudden. He used to be a ruthless bounty hunter, but now he's kind of like he's not even an anti-hero. He's basically just a regular run of the mill bland hero now. But they could always like do, I don't know, they could always take it in that direction. It's hilarious you are watching all the later shows first and you are missing all the Easter eggs. Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? I thought Ahsoka did a very good job of filling in the gaps that I would have needed for as far as backstory. They explained the origin of Ahsoka well enough. Like I got the gist of it. I'll say that. Maybe they didn't explain it, and I knew the characters were from Rebels because I'd heard some of the names. One and two, they kind of hammer that home. When they had the murals of them, they were done cartoony for some reason, and it probably I wouldn't be surprised if they looked like that in the show. But yes, I should have done that. I should have watched them in order, and that was my intention at first, but I just didn't. So every time something comes up, I'm like, should I know? Should I know where what's his name? The guy who died, Ray Stevenson. Should I know where he's going at the end of Ahsoka? The answer is yes, I should. But I don't know where he's going. Um, I have an idea, but I don't know for sure. If you watch those series in order, you will get it. I do appreciate with all the recasting they did that they actually kept Clancy Brown as Ryder Azadi. I'm guessing he was a voice actor for one of the characters. Yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe I should. When I kind of got that, I was like, yeah, maybe I should be watching Rebels before I watch this Ahsoka series. Ooh. Well, excuse me. Oh, I want to play Jedi Survivor. I did play Fallen Order. I enjoyed playing Fallen Order. It's slightly janky, but it was fun overall. I kind of want to play Jedi Survivor. Those games are all right, and I'm kind of curious about what was it, Star Wars Outlaws. That looked like something I would play, but it's made by Ubisoft, so I'm not. My hopes are not up. I'm not going to keep my hopes up. He voiced the character in Rebels and then played him in the action. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm waiting for that guy to show up. He's out the. I'm sure he's out there somewhere. Maybe I don't know. I haven't played the second game yet, but thanks to that game, I knew who the Night Sisters were because they're in that game. So I was like, oh okay, yeah. When they showed up in the Ahsoka, I was like, yeah, I know who they are. Okay, I know exactly what they can do, what they're about because I played uh Fallen Order. I don't know everything, but I know enough. You get a better picture of the Night Sisters in Clone Wars. Yeah, I didn't even. I honestly did not know they were in Clone Wars. Yeah, I got to start that. I gotta start Clone Wars finally. Even though I know what's gonna happen, I know, but there are some things that I did. I saw little snippets here and there over the years that were kind of interesting. Like I know they fight. I know they fight Count Dooku at some point. It seemed the little bit that I've seen, it looked pretty like a well done fight. The same thing with some of the Emperor Palpatine things that they put in there. Got to gotta check that out. I just gotta put it like find the time to or get interested in watching it. But I do want to watch it. Eventually, I'll get around to it. Maybe we can turn this on and so we can see what we're doing now. I don't think we need. Or we already got the underside of the fingernail for the most part. Wait, let me check that out. Let me make sure I complete the other side. Yep. And then we're just gonna take that. I'm not really worried about this. That should show in the baking. That's what we want right there. Just hit F. Even though the Night Sisters here are absolutely nothing like the original expanded universe. Oh yeah. Oh wait, they were in the expanded universe too, so that's another thing they brought back out of there. So they brought back Thrawn. They brought back the concept of Emperor Palpatine keeping himself alive through clones, and now the Night Sisters. So that's three things. Oh yeah, and Boba Fett crawling out of the Sarlacc pit. That was actually, I know that that was a book. That was in a book years ago because somebody told me about that a very, very, very long time ago. That's what happens. That he actually survived that, and it was around the time that Shadows of the Empire came out for Nintendo 64. So, and of course, Shadows of the Empire. I know everything that goes on in that too because of that reason. Because it was a game that one of my friends had, and I actually played through all of it. And yeah, I know, but Dash Rendar has not yet. Well, they haven't like mentioned him, at least not to my knowledge. They are nowhere close to the same though. In the original expanded universe, they were way more interesting. Yeah, basically what I know of Boba Fett is that he crawled out and continued being a bounty hunter, the same character that he was. He didn't do this like this redeem stuff where he's like he kind of lost some of his edge, but I wasn't a big Boba Fett guy to begin with. I mean, he had a very small part in both movies that he was in. I wasn't one of those people who I liked his design, but I mean, I didn't really know much about the character. I can't really say. I didn't. I don't know. It was like it was just one of those things where people saw the character and just fell in love with it. But I was not one of those people. I did like his design though, but he didn't really do anything. He showed up and then he got killed. At the end, well, he killed and then they brought him back and then now he's it's like a he's back. The current version is not bad at all. Just the old ones had way more depth. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I felt like it's not the Boba Fett that I heard about when he crawled out of the Sarlacc pit. That's what I am saying. I do appreciate that they used they kept the continuity with Attack of the Clones. You know, as far as him being another clone trooper clone, but was raised by Django. They basically kept that guy. It was nice seeing that guy back again, but what the heck is going on? Am I clicking on the right thing here? I am not. Okay, never mind. I bent that a little too far back. I think. Wait. Hmm. Let's try this instead. Probably just using the wrong mode. I think. I just prefer to pretend Book of Boba Fett didn't exist. You wanted to be a crime lord that doesn't do crime. Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I do like. I was always a fan of Ming Na Wen. Ever since Street Fighter the movie, if I find out she's in something, I will watch it because I think she's a pretty good actress. Except for Agents of Shield, I actually have not seen that yet. That's the only. But if she's in a movie, I'll most likely watch it. Oh yeah, and Spirits Within that was not very good. But if that had taken off, she would be a bigger star now than she was back then because that character was going to be the first. They were going to like this was back when Square Enix had was their hubris was so large that they were going to try to create a 3D celebrity to be used in multiple movies, and she was the voice of that celebrity in English. So if that would have actually worked, she would be like all the way out there right now as far as celebrity. But it didn't. So, but she's still around and she still gets pretty decent roles. So I guess good for her, right? She doesn't look very different from Street Fighter 2. She's actually aged very well. The original expanded universe, Boba Fett was highly feared, almost like a boogeyman. When he showed up, shit got real. Yeah, he's got all the Padawan rat tail braids too, man. He just kills Jedi. I want to see how that guy was killing Jedi, but we didn't get to see that. We saw him take Han Solo. He didn't actually capture Han Solo. Darth Vader did. And when it came time for him to do something, he got killed. Well, killed by a blind Han Solo by accident. It's pretty unfulfilling portrayals there. They did Boba dirty, yes they did. But like I said, cool design. He's definitely got the design going. They just really didn't do much with that character. The original expanded universe Boba Fett was not a clone, right? He was originally a law enforcement officer named Juster Mariel. Jaster Mariel. Okay. No, I did not know that. Honestly, I did not know that. I didn't know anything about Boba until Attack of the Clones. No one ever mentioned that. And that goes to show you how much people know about Boba Fett because I've never heard anyone say that. They mentioned, the blue guy with the red eyes and the tubes coming out of his head. What was his name? They mentioned that guy, but then they never mentioned. Oh, wait a minute. The guy that he gets his Boba armor back from, Timothy Oliphant. I think they did say that was originally that was like a callback to what Boba Fett used to be. I think they did say that. But before that show, no one ever mentioned that Boba Fett was that guy, except for when they did that. They had Timothy Oliphant with the Boba Fett armor, and he was the sheriff in the town. There were some people that were saying, yeah, that's how Boba Fett was in the original universe. Somewhat, I don't know the exact paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know the exact wording that they used, but that's what they were saying. I knew they had said it. I just didn't know. I didn't know what context. So yeah, I'm still gonna say that I did not know. Messed up part is you can't even blame Disney for that. The change was made pre-Disney takeover. That's all George Lucas. Yep, yep. I know. Prequels have its they have their defenders and their detractors. Like my biggest takeaway from the I like Obi-Wan, I like Anakin, and I like the Emperor, and I like Mace Windu. Actually, you know what? I don't have a problem with any of the actors in the prequel. It was just and even like you could probably in a perfect world make those stories work. I think they were just a little too broad. They were marketed for too broad of an audience. Maybe they should have just kept them PG-13 from the start, or make them kids movies. I don't know because it kept bouncing back and forth. That's what I think. They're all great actors in their own right. Even though I didn't really see Hayden Christensen's work until after he did Star Wars, but he didn't seem like a bad actor to me. It was just the way that the direction they were given. Even Samuel Jackson, he was very wooden for someone who does not normally play wooden characters. So I don't know. It's just a matter of the direction that they were directed to act and the dialogue they were given. The Obi-Wan prequel books were cool. I saw someone do a 3D. It was like one of the first 3D things that I've seen. Someone did a concept of Obi-Wan in uh, post episode 3, And he actually looks a lot like he did in the show, but he had like more equipment. Like they kind of dressed him up more like a he had like a mercenary type look to him. Like he had like random armor and like a kind of like a man like a half robe or whatever, and it was really cool. But that's not the direction they took in the. They just they just made him dirtier, overall. But he had the look of someone who was like surviving. He was like moving through the galaxy and surviving. And that's what I hoped that Obi-Wan would be, always on the run. But or they could have just done if they had done the Obi-Wan the movies, like all three movies, just have them be Obi-Wan just doing like very personal detective work, and maybe like Anakin is there, as a buddy cop movie. Maybe that could work. I don't know. I honestly don't know how they could have done it better. I would have to like sit down and really. Maybe I think I have a little idea of how I would do like an episode one fan fiction rewrite, but it's just I'd rather just take those ideas and make my own story with them. So yeah, I love that Samuel Jackson's lightsaber had BMF engraved on it as a nod to Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I think he has that lightsaber in his house somewhere, like on the display. Pretty cool. And um, apparently George Lucas says that Mace Windu survived, but I don't think Disney will ever bring that character back. And maybe they shouldn't because they already bring back a lot of characters, and I don't know. Maybe they should give the fan service a rest a little bit, and do more original stuff. It's kind of getting like, okay, somebody from the original movies has to come in and save the day when they write themselves into a corner. I feel like they're doing that a lot. There was a sword fight where Obi was so sloppy because swords have weight. Yeah, they don't do things like that, do they? That could work. I could see that happening in a movie, but they won't do that. It has to be a lightsaber because that's what people know. The only thing he asked for in his contract was a purple lightsaber and a spectacular death scene. Yeah, I would say his contract was fulfilled. They gave him one. They definitely gave him both of those. It's not unheard of that they had different color lightsabers anyway, right? So I mean the first request was easy to fulfill. It was just they all had meaning. I don't know if they have meaning, like the colors had meaning. Like if you were strong in the force, you get a green lightsaber or whatever, even though lightsabers aren't really your strong suit. That's the one thing that didn't make any sense to me. Like if you're a Jedi counselor, as they call it, you're like your main thing is like just being really good with the force. Then why have a lightsaber at all? You don't even really need one, right? But I don't. I'm not gonna. It's not my works. Okay, I'm not gonna rack my brain about it. And blue lightsabers were given to the people who were really good with lightsabers, of course, except Samuel Jackson, who has a purple one. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's like this weird like what is the canon here? What are the rules of this universe? You're mixing up counselor and counselor. Okay, I don't even know the difference. So here we go. One of them strong with the force. Okay, counselor, 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 Consuela. I don't know. I don't know, man. Something of the sort. Counselor is what you're referring to. Gotcha. They call it counselor. They spell it like this. Spell it like that in if I remember correctly, they spelled it like that in Knights of the Old Republic. So forgive me. That is my reference point there. But at the end, it didn't really matter what you started with because you could just change the color at will with crystals. They didn't have it to where your crystal would attune to you like they do now. You just found the color of crystal that you wanted and you use that. And that's kind of how it is with it's still kind of like that with Fallen Order, but apparently, you can will it to be red. So, I don't know anymore. Apparently red is not natural. You're just so dark that you kind of like your dark side kind of screws with the crystal to the point where it just turns red. Counselor was what Mace Windu was. It just means he's a member of the council. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was talking about the Jedi role, not the rank, right? I guess I guess that's what I was trying to say. Originally, there wasn't even such thing as Kyber crystals. You could use any crystal you wanted. Yeah, that's what I was basically saying. Now, some crystals were sought after more than others because of how well they focused the light. Yeah, they're like apparently they're like sentient in a way, right? They have like these big um deposits basically that you can draw from or um like kind of have like a power feedback loop. I heard of like there was like a big mountain of this stuff on where Palpatine is on what's that planet that was in the movie Exegol, and that he's like constantly torturing it and then drawing the power from it from him torch is I don't know some weird stuff, but basically the concept of drawing power from it is there in some way. The Shinshin crystal thing is fairly new. It was introduced in Clone Wars. Clone Wars really spiritualized the building of a lightsaber. Prior to that, it was just a tool. There's a scene in Shadows of the Empire where you see Luke building the lightsaber he used in Return of the Jedi, and he actually forged his crystal in a smith. Yeah, they actually had those scenes. They had the scenes too. There was a trailer for like a teaser trailer for Return of the Jedi where he's sitting in a cave and he has his little hood on and he's like you don't know what's going on. He's like tinkering with something, and then you see the lightsaber and he turns it on and it's green. But it was like a teaser trailer. But they actually did film that for the movie. I think you can find that on YouTube. Yeah, we'll go with that. The book even commented that the way he made the crystal was not the most ideal way to do it, and the crystal he used for his lightsaber was considered low quality. Yeah, I know in the game they have crystals that have stats to them. I didn't know if that's how they actually work, but I guess that is the case. They had more than one crystal that you could put in a lightsaber in the game. I'm not sure if that's how it was in the expanded universe, but that's how it worked in the game. Like you had the crystal had that controlled the color, and then you had like two other crystals that kind of controlled how it worked. And yeah, it's basically the gist of how you built a lightsaber in the game. But since he was the last Jedi, wouldn't they just tell him through the Force how to build it? So it's kind of weird that like that's not the right way to do it because unless Yoda taught him, which we didn't see, I'm sure he would have had the time to teach him at some point how to do it correctly, right? Whether if he was alive or dead, or should I say alive or a Force ghost, because no one's ever really gone. They would just tell him the right way to do it, right? I mean, I don't know. Kind of weird that they would just let him just go out there with a messed up lightsaber like that. Not a great lightsaber. And there's plenty of Force ghosts to refer to. You got Qui Gon Jinn, who taught everyone how to do it. You got Yoda, who he was alive and he's dead in the same movie. You got Obi-Wan, like none of them said anything. Yes, that is actually the original canon. You could put multiple crystals in a lightsaber to focus the blade. In fact, lightsabers with three crystals were considered higher quality. Yeah, that's how I rolled in the game. You gotta put all the crystals in. Okay, you gotta go to the little workstation. You gotta put them things together, and they look just like the ones in Fallen Order too. In the game, they had a little light desk. Well, I don't know if that's how they were in the. I don't remember because there's different kinds. They have very primitive looking ones in certain planets, but basically there's a station somewhere that you can go to and work on your lightsaber and fall in order. You couldn't change the color though. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing. That's like the biggest change is the color of lightsabers and what they meant and how that comes to be. That's definitely something that does not work how it works in the canon now. I'm gonna finish this finger and then I'm gonna call it because we are at the end here, and I want to get this finger done so that way it's done. You know, the fingers the fingers complete. We can start anew tomorrow with the pinky, and from there, well, I'm considering because we have to do I have to do this portion offline. So I might if I can find some time in between working on my up on the other mesh here because I'm trying to learn the back end of this. You know, we I think we just need to refine the sculpting portion and the retopology. But once I get a good idea of how to do the back end, we can start just doing the entire process on stream one day, and that's my goal. Sorry about that. I really have to make all the music the same volume because that's a problem that I still have to deal with. Yeah, sorry about that. They were all downloaded from various sources and they're not all the same volume. That's something that I'm gonna have to put on my list of things to do for the stream. I'm working on some animations for the stream and other bells and whistles. It's all in a big backlog. We'll get to it eventually. This is the main concern here is just learning, getting a solid workflow so we can do this in our sleep and just go through. You know, if we want to make something, we can make it. You know, that's where we're going here. That's what we're doing. But yes, back into things. I'm still kind of shaky about after everything after making the clothing. We got UVs. I kind of know how to do them, but I don't have it committed to memory. I'm going to start taking some notes once I get a good idea of what to do, and then referring to that in the future, so that way we can commit all that stuff to memory and do that stuff without having to look at anything. But I'm pretty satisfied with the progress that I've made so far since starting this. It's really not much more that I feel like I would need to learn as far as something new. Maybe hard surface modeling. I don't think you don't really have to worry about that with a person, but like say like if I wanted to do a car or something, I think there might be something different there that I may have to look at. We'll see. But as far as people, I don't think there's not much more that I could think of that I could incorporate into the workflow. I could do some physics. I could rig it. Um, I have done hair, but I don't have anything concrete yet in the textures. So see what goes on there. That's just a loud song altogether. It was like some kind of Streets of Rage remix or whatever. I don't know. Apologies. That won't be heard on the VOD. Oh, okay. Well, we're almost there. We're almost there. I think we can do this. Actually, you know what we can do instead? Well, you know what? Yeah, I'll worry about that later. I'm gonna take away some of these lines, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Oh, we don't want to do that. And this finger is not done like the other finger, but it is done. My biggest concern is just, and I don't think, you know what? Yeah, it doesn't, the finger doesn't bend here, so it should be fine. If you want to go really old school, the original lightsabers were attached to by cable to massive battery packs that the Jedi wore like backpacks. Really? I remember back in the day, I know there were some, they started off using vibro, like a version of vibro blades, which I think they just started putting into the actual continuity. I think I saw someone with a vibro knife in one of the newer shows, but they actually had swords that they could empower, sort of. Um, those were like the precursor to lightsabers. Saving Private Kenobi. They could do a war movie, and they kind of did with Rogue One. But if they went like if they could do like Star Wars and just like completely just forget about the Empire and lightsabers, just have like random battles happening throughout the galaxy and just base stories around that, and maybe just put Jedi on the back burners for a while, they could easily go in that direction if they wanted to. It's just they like to stick to the things that are most recognizable, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I would definitely like to see them put the recognizable stuff on the back burner for a while and just do more original stuff. They'd have to stop going forward into the story and start going back. There's a lot of lore to pick from. Yeah, and I think they should do original stories and not do these interquels or prequels as much as they've been doing. But that's just me. I don't know. I want to see something completely new. Don't do the old Republic. Don't do the new Republic, because it seems to me that they tend to vilify the Republic now, in my opinion. Like they're always impeding the progress of the main characters. They're not helpful until someone like C3PO or Princess Leia, comes and saves the day. Not on screen, of course, not Princess Leia anyway, but an old character has to come and help the main characters. But usually the Republic are kind of like antagonists in these new stories. Sort of. They almost don't help you. They don't help at all, really. Like, no, we can't just solve the problem for you. We have to be combative, and even though you're telling us there's this threat, we're just not going to listen to you. And then after a while, it's like, no wonder they keep dying and losing. It's like it's like, should I even root for these guys anymore? I don't know. It's kind of weird that they take that stance with the Republic, but I mean, it is what it is. Grievous story is very good, and then the movies just is just a Marlboro mascot. I think they did do the original Clone Wars cartoon. Then they did something with Grievous, right? They showed how he got the injury before they started doing the Clone Wars show. Didn't they do that? Oh, they did anyway. All right, so we got the finger done. We just have the pinky, and then the upper body will be completely done. We'll be fully on the lower body. I'm gonna start here and stop here, and probably stop there, and I'll just do the rest of it offline. That's going to be we'll see how far we get tomorrow. Hopefully we can do that tomorrow. I'm not really sure, but we are making progress, of course. And then I'm going to import the boots that we created and then refine them a little bit more on this character, and then send them back right. Send them back the right way. Send them back fully upgraded combat boots. That's our goal. All right. I want to thank everyone who stopped by today. I really appreciate everyone who watches these videos live and in the VOD and on YouTube. I will see you tomorrow, okay? And yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of your day. All right.